FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage Babalola. If this is the first time listening to Situation Room, I welcome you and I'm super excited to have you join the family on a program where we discuss political things, we speak about socio-economic matters, we address issues that happen within the polity and beyond. In fact, as a matter of fact, we try to relate happenings outside the country, compare it to our realities here in the country, and try to see how we can be better. Some of the adoptions that we can consider, basically how to renew the nation, how to ensure that we enjoy the many dividends of democracy. So this is the Situation Room, where every single situation in the country is a matter for conversation. And the beauty of all of this is that we create multiple channels through which you can give us feedback. You are the one in the middle of the situation as much as I am at the center of the situation. And who best to discuss these matters if not those of us who are actively impacted by events within the country and beyond. My name is Sage Babalola once again, and I warmly welcome you to today's episode of the Situation Room once again. Don't forget that we stream this program live on our Facebook platform, also on our YouTube platform, as we do many other of our programs. So you can join us using our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. We usually open the phone lines, of course, after we finish conversations with the experts that we bring on air to have conversations with us or provide deeper expert insight into the matters that we bring up for conversation. After that, we open the phone line so you can call in, give your submissions, ask your questions, and interact with the guests that we have on radio. Well, today on the Situation Room, we're going to be talking about something that is rather important. As much as we've been discussing the security of the country, the kidnappings, abductions, the ransom payment, some sort of laxity that we see when it comes to our security structure and architecture, a lot of attention also need to be paid to our national finance, the economics of the country. Unfortunately, there isn't a great story to tell at this time amidst accusations of reckless spending, borrowing, our rising debt profile, amongst other things. And of course, as much as we're discussing security, we should talk about the strength of our finances as a country. Hence today's conversation being around Nigeria's rising debt profile, our borrowing pattern. It's time for us to pay attention to it, and we're going to start by the conversation we'll be having today on the Situation Room. Now, despite the essential role that debt plays in enabling structural transformation and development, the rate at which Nigeria's debt is rising has constrained the country's ability to generate sufficient growth to cope with crisis and maybe even invest in development. Nigeria's debt has reached $108.3 billion, and this represents an increase of 123% since 2012, a rate that is roughly 6 times the country's growth rate of GDP. Now, Nigeria's increased debt is as a result of an interplay of factors, with most of the new debt being externally obtained, leading to an increase in the risk of burden of that debt becoming unsustainable. So joining me on the Situation Room this evening to discuss Nigeria's rising debt profile, our borrowing pattern, and the need for a debt repayment structure is economist and expert Dr. Boniface Okezie. Dr. Boniface, it's such a pleasure to have you join us. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. All right. So the conversation, just like I introduced earlier, is around Nigeria's rising debt profile. And I want to start by establishing that, of course, governments, private establishments across the world borrow money. There's nothing wrong with that. They use it to take care of, some financial aspects, revenue shortfall. So borrowing has never really been a problem. But the issue here is the utilization of the funds and the monies that we have borrowed, how we manage the monies that we borrow from whatever source. So I want you to talk to us first of all, sir, about how we have fallen far down the rabbit hole, the way we have managed the funds that we have borrowed across different administrations. Sir, how did we get to this point of such extremely high external debt without any corresponding infrastructural increment?
Yeah, it's so sad and unfortunate, that we continue to borrow and will not prioritize our, borrowing and remain focused. What do we need this money for? Is it for consumption? Is it for infrastructure development? Is it for building industry? So if you have defined ab initio, the first on day one, we would have known how to utilize these loans because there's nothing wrong in borrowing. One all over economy, the government borrow money to execute some projects that they cannot finance internally. You go for externally or internally within the banking sector of that country and borrow money. Then you have this money we are borrowing for specific purpose, building roads, building bridges, construction industries, construction housing estate. Because at the end of the day, people will still habitate, people will still pay, either through the tax, either they meet indirect financing, how people to generate to start paying those loans. You must pay them out on the day one as how you are borrowing this money for. But Nigeria borrowing, we don't focus on what exactly are this money going to be drive for. We borrow for consumption, we borrow for diverting the money, we borrow in stealing it, corruption is becoming endemic. So this is a problem. And when it comes to repayment, we only focus on one aspect, which is the crude oil. One revenue we are generating to finance all these projects, to pay all these loans we are talking about who have been borrowed over the years. So everything tie on the oil. So it become a problem. So when you sell this crude that we don't even manufacture by ourselves, they own the oil. When these foreigners are one drilling this oil, after the sales they take their own and pay you what left for you. So we begin to tie up to financial industries in Nigeria, begin to finance social contracts we own for Nigerians, how to develop Nigeria, how to develop hospitals. We make the budget, and the budget will not be enough to service this loan. And you take the half of your budget to service loan, it become a problem. Nigeria will not be catered for. All that necessary infrastructure that you ought to have provided will not be provided for because you are servicing loan. These are why it becomes problem. And that's why Nigeria are shouting, that's why Nigeria are crying, that you cannot use all that you have budgeted to service loan you have borrowed. It becomes a problem. But how do we go forward? These are problems, Right. It's easy to borrow, but when it comes to repayment, it becomes a problem.
Right. Dr. Boniface, we're definitely going to speak very critically about our repayment structure as we proceed in this particular conversation. But I just want to highlight that, under the Buhari administration in December of 2015, we had a debt of about $7.35 billion. But unfortunately, at this time, our external debt is about 87.38 trillion naira is how much we're owing. And that is excluding the CBN Ways and Means loan that is even under probe at this time. Now, Dr. Boniface, allow me to play devil's advocate for a bit. The world suffered economic shocks at some point. I think in 2019, there was the COVID-19 era, there was the Russia-Ukraine war. Even the United Nations put out a report that the world suffered globally. There was a reduction in growth. Yes. So I want us to consider that, can we afford this government some form of leniency, considering the fact that there was a period from 2019 to 2022, 2023 where the entire world was affected by economic shock?
Yeah, you see, the problem is this. We cannot continue to finance a budget, and at the end of the day, we use that budget to pay interest or pay repayment of loans without considering your citizens, Nigerians. That is the living that pays loans. The dead cannot pay the loan. If your citizens are died, they cannot generate tax to repay these loans. It becomes a problem. So what we need to do is to go back to the lenders and renegotiate. That look, the world all over had a problem. America have maybe they have higher loan repayment.
Yeah.
The America is not paying it. Their budget is bigger, 100%, 10 times more than Nigeria. They are not tied it on the repayment of loans. So, including UK, including France, including Germany, all these developed countries have a loan attached to their various borrowing. They have borrowed to do all the financing, even the one to lend to the third countries of the world. So what we need to do is to go back to the basics. Look, we have a problem at hand. Our resources is not enough to be able to repay these loans. Give us a time, we negotiate time frame to repayment of this loan. We cannot use the half of our budget to service loan to detriment of your citizens. That cannot work well. That cannot augur well with your citizens. Otherwise, the problem at hand, we cannot be able to foretell it when it is boring. But these are things a sensible government should be able to do. Because this government that borrowed from Buhari some of the railway, we can see it financing to Niger Republic, which have no counterpart funding. How we can, we come to the Christmas, extended to them when they not even ask for it. So, become a problem. In your own country, those railway lines could have been in those days, could have been extended to the east and west, so that, your citizens can generate enough to start repaying this loan by terms of, taxes, or, okay, you can generate from it, including the roads. Because today, there's hunger in the land. How can you tax people under this aspect of fuel subsidy removal? You cannot tax some of the road today that you are bringing back in your pay, increasing the burden on the citizens. There's no way government can do that. Then there's the extent you can go paying tax on the people, forcing people to pay taxes or the companies in Nigeria when they are so suffering. Because when you pay tax, it's a amount of fund you generated and the kind of profit you make already, the government can pay the 10% tax to the government to use to finance other infrastructure or to repayment the loan. Those resources are no longer there today. Nigerians are crying. So what we need to do is to negotiate. People, they cannot kill Nigerians for paying, servicing those loans. They will agree with us and give us a time frame, or we'll beg them for cancellation. They can't do what I did it. I think that was the under Babalola. So those loans was cancelled. Yeah, it was cancelled outright. But those loans to have built up to trillions of naira again, trillions of dollars. How do we go from there? So because for me, what if they agreed and said Nigeria, look, we are going to cancel maybe 10%, 50%, maybe 40%, 30%, 20% of the total borrow you have, then it's understandable. We can manage it from there. But I don't believe the outright cancellation, because outright cancellation does not help us. We will go against our borrowing. We will go against our borrowing without repayment, Then every time we go campaign and asking for cancellation of that loan, it will not go over well for Nigerians. Right. And they will not look us as a credit-worthy nations, because you must fulfill your obligation when you borrow. But you must prioritize your issues. How do we borrow this money? Like I said earlier, if you look at the Shagari regime under the First Republic, when we return back to democracy, people, they finance drilling industries at equator states and larger states. They committed everything. But today, how many industries have been built in Nigeria since we returned to democracy over 24 years ago? There's no industry anywhere built or to privatize, apart from Jonathan, the power station, Geledu and the Geledu Power and Ugelu Power. They're trying to revive and build, So there's no other new industry Nigeria are able to build to revive. Look at that Jupiter Steel, how much we have expanded today. They still on comatose. It's not functional. If we generated revenue from those sources, that could help for you to enable you to drive other sectors, to develop other sectors, develop hospitals, develop schools, develop universities, develop roads and bridges, so that you can find a ways and means to finance other projects. Because when you tie those things on the repayment of loans, Nigeria will suffer for it, Then they have no growth for your nations. Nigeria progress will continue to be deterred. So for me, when you borrow, you must pay for it, But let us prioritize our issues. What do we borrow for? Is it borrow for consumption or for production, productivity? You must create industry so that your citizens engaged, they were able to pay tax when we are generating, when we are in production in top years. Look at agriculture have been neglected, If we have to massive production today, we can export to neighboring West African coast, We can export our rices there instead of importing from Taiwan. Thank God they say the CBN anchor borrowing, we are financing rice, where pyramid, where are the rice today? A bag of rice is costing 170, where are the rice today? If we are producing enough, we could export to other neighboring countries and encourage foreign exchange, able to repay our loan, able to develop more industries, to create job opportunities. When your citizens are fully engaged, are fully productive, they will be able to pay tax. When that tax is being generated enough, he can service the loans, he can pay interest, he can pay principal they are borrowing. But when there's no productivity, look at 30,000 minimum wage. Which states are paying it today? Most states are poor corporate, they're not paying. Federal government are not paying. So where do we go from here?
Right.
And that is why the inflation is growing to an alarming rate, So you can only turn inflation when there's a productivity around the globe, around the country. All the participating federation, they are doing nothing. Everybody is waiting to share for fat. Right. And when the revenue comes, you share it, the states are doing nothing. Local governments are doing nothing. Everything is on the federal government. Right. To share it, and when they share it, there's no productivity. So state government are stealing it, diverting it, doing things that are not tenable. No accountability, no transparency in what we're doing. Right. That's the problem we find ourselves. And if we continue in that trajectory, we can do nothing.
All right, Dr. Boniface, thank you so very much. I actually wanted us to take these conversations one after the other. Inflation, the management of this borrowed fund from the aspect of governance, amongst other things. I really wanted us to talk about this one after the other, but it's okay that you have highlighted it in your analysis. If you're just joining us, this is the Situation Room on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. We are having a conversation about Nigeria's rising debt profile. Basically, we're talking about our borrowing pattern, how well we've been able to use the monies that we have borrowed. Also, our debt repayment structure. Do we have a strong enough structure to repay these loans without casting the burden on the average Nigerians by means of tax, amongst other things? Earlier, we spoke about how we have gone from 42 trillion naira of debt in 2015 to over 87 trillion naira as we stand, and all of that is excluding the 25 trillion CBN Ways and Means loans. I also spoke to Dr. Boniface about the fact that in 2019 to 2022, 2023, the entire world experienced, some form of economic shock with the Russia-Ukraine war. There was the COVID-19, amongst other things, and Nigeria was not exempt. And a lot of countries had to borrow huge amount of money to take care of the consequences of those shocks. But Dr. Boniface is of the opinion that regardless, we still should have had a structure to pay back the loans that we borrowed, even if it was a global problem at that time. So I want us to talk about the budget a little bit, although I'm glad that you spoke about it earlier. When we were operating a 21 trillion naira budget in 2023, although we had subsequent supplementary budget, about 31% of that budget, 6 trillion was for debt servicing. Right now we're operating a 28 trillion naira budget. Over 8.25 trillion naira has been put aside for debt servicing. And another thing that is worthy of note, Dr. Boniface, is our recurrent expenditure and our capital expenditure. For some reason, our recurrent expenditure continues to swallow our capital expenditure. What problem, what consequence does this pose for our economic sustainability, Dr. Boniface?
Yeah, the problem is this, we can able to get out of this quagmire if we prioritize our issues right, and stop stealing and corruption. If you turn corruption, we can able to address issues confronting Nigeria today. It's not that it's not insurmountable, the problem we have at hand. But if government, level-headed and they cool down to prioritize issues, we can able to tackle these issues headlong. Are able to, cater for the welfare of Nigerians without overstretching Nigerians, without making Nigeria impoverish, because like I said earlier, it is a living that service loans. What the ways and means to able to curtail these issues for government to stop corruption in all levels of governance, from local government to state level and federal level, we need to reduce excess of the government departmental. Okay, there's a waste and too much waste in the system. And the 괘ᴜᴛᴜ report, you need to collapse some of the departmental to reduce waste, to reduce cost. If you're able to reduce cost, Nigeria can able to establish these loans and create opportunity for Nigerians to survive itself, without overburdening them, without overtaxing Nigerians and companies operating in Nigeria under difficult situation. Today, a lot of companies are putting up, and if companies are not surviving to pay tax, Nigeria is in trouble, because internally, what you generated will not be enough for you to service those debts we're talking about. today we're talking about budget peddling, and some of they are denying it, by the Senate or House of Reps. Some of the Senate have said that there was a peddling. How do you do this? Because for me, this is corruption we're talking about. We're talking about ways and means to reduce excess paying all the budgeted to service debt and the negligence of your country citizens who are suffering already, who have been getting the pains, and they say we should tighten our belt without the government official and living in an airplane, flamboyant, flashy cars. No, that's not the way to run economy. You must tie those things. You look at it the day of Babangida when they say tighten the belt. They short everything. Today is importation. And when you say importation, things we can't manufacture. Things were extension that we need against poor Nigerians. When you ban them, and they find their way into the country. Look at our customs. So what are they doing? So all the revenue they are collected for is it accounted for to the national revenue? They are not. They are being diverted there and there. And all the imported goods you see, how are they being auctioned? When you auction them, those money should be brought back to government coffer. These are revenues you must drive. Then when you auction those things, we don't see the accrue going back to government coffer. You see, the custom will continue to recycle and steal them by themselves. These are problems, We need to nab these things, to protect corruption. Corruption is killing the economy. Corruption is killing the system. Corruption is killing the money you are generating. The little you generating, people are still stealing it. You are still paying officials, ministers, they are in excess. How many ministers do we have? Almost 50 in number, 40 something. Who couldn't have such, Who couldn't have about 6 ministers and able to do the job? You look at the state level, the governors are spending hundreds of millions on daily basis. So they either to their kitchen, order to service at their office. No, this is not, We are creating an impression they will have enough. We are super rich. Then we should be able to pay those debts. The foreigners are laughing at us. Our creditors are laughing at us. They have flamboyant lifestyle. Our leaders have been displaying, call for worry. And because when they see a leader living in our place, they will say this country is super rich. They should put the money they borrowed. That's the problem. And when they are paying this money, because that's ego, that's proud, because you have enough, and that's why you are spending recklessly. And the citizens are suffering. We are not in abject poverty. Today we are rated the capital war poverty in the world. So the foreigners will laugh at you. When they call for debt forgiveness, nobody will listen to you. When you ask for the extension, spread it, nobody will listen to you. America is paying loan. Other countries now, Africa, are paying their loans. But they are large. Look at Mali. Look at Nigeria today. They know what they are doing. They have found a solution. They have found life, getting the economy running on daily basis, But our own is going down the drain. We are not even, moving out ideas to how to get out from the problem we find ourselves. But we are compounding our problem on daily basis. So the foreigners will continue to laugh at us because we are not doing well. Right. So they will expect us to pay every dime we are owing them because we borrow this money without putting it into judiciously used, either to create job opportunities, to build industries or infrastructures, to have been diverted through corruption. Our leaders stole this money. So they must start themselves, to be able to cover up some of the money they're stealing. So that, look at that batcher loot. We have a recovering, we don't know where those money have been channeled to. It cannot pinpoint any one road or bridges Abacha money have been helped to build Every day we recover millions of dollars for Abacha loot and other looted funds, Where are those funds? Where are those money? Crude oil have gone high. Even after the COVID, subsidized ended, crude oil went high. Where are this money again? We gain at this period, Look at Russia and Ukraine war. We have the oil going on high. We sell in the very high. Where are the gain we make during those periods, So this is a problem. Stealing have been killing us, economically. It is not that Nigeria cannot withstand this shock and find a way to get out of this pandemic and be on top. But because of corruption, because of reckless spending by our leaders, it's not the poor Nigerians are not the problem. The poor Nigerians are the people suffering today. The maladministration we are having under the past or current, So this is a problem. And look at the government today. they will not even give the direction where they are going. All that the government is here for, increase the interest rate, increase this and that, increase this and that. At the end, we are not seeing anything to augment what they have done to see that, yeah, we can wrangle out of this problem. Rather, the problem is continue to multiply on the monthly or daily basis for Nigerians to cope with,
Thank you.
So when the deep problem,
Thank you.
by the way our leaders are running the economy.
Right. Thank you very much. I'm talking to Dr. Boniface Okezie. He is, of course, an economist, and together we're conversing about Nigeria's rising debt profile. We're talking about how the amount of money that we've been borrowing continues to plunge us into further economic woes. We're streaming the show live on Facebook. You can join us on Facebook, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM, or you can go to YouTube at mainland 98.3 FM. Don't forget to follow us on X as well at mainland FM. You are on to the Situation Room on mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola, and like I said, my guest today is Dr. Boniface Okezie. We recently just spoke about how our recurrent expenditure versus our capital expenditure, and also the high percentage of our budget that is being allocated to debt servicing continues to affect our budget performance. Now, Dr. Boniface, let's talk about the forex crisis. It pains me to admit that we are running an almost completely dollarized economy. So even in cases where we don't incur fresh loans, the monies that we have borrowed in the past, as long as the margin between the naira and the dollar continue to widen, our debt continues to increase. The amount of money we pay to service this debt will continue to increase. A simple example, if we borrow $1 when the margin was maybe 500 naira to $1, we know that, okay, we're repaying 500 naira. But in that same breath, by the time we are trying to service or repay these loans, the exchange rate is now about 1,200. It means that without even incurring any fresh loan, the amount of money we have to pay back has suddenly skyrocketed. So I want you to talk to us about how the influence of the forex crisis, the influence of our weakened currency, the kind of influence it has on our rising debt profile in the country, and how we can strive for some sort of stability, with our local currency.
Yeah, we were through some kind of government, is it to NNPC, borrow about how many something billion to shore up the naira, to create, to make the forex, able to get by Nigerians or do other things what they needed, I think through the African Development Bank. I don't know, exactly. Yes. So where are those money to NNPC that are going to pay back through oil swap, So those been climb up on its own for. Unless we win dollar, I will give an example of those dollars they borrowed, what was the impact today? At this, nobody can tell us how much it is about what done enough as to, shut up the naira stronger to equal to dollar. We can't get there. That's a simple truth. We can't get there. As long as our price rely on importation, even things we don't need of, needed raw material they have, so we're going to run into problem. We can show up the naira. No way. There's no way about it. When we have left production, today the end users of forest are not desperate, to import the enabling raw. That's the problem. And the same government overtaxing them. Every infrastructure looks like, the nation today. So multinational cannot even repatriate because of dollars. No, that is not the problem. The problem of repatriating their accruing, their due to their parent company over their home country, they cannot have a problem. And there's no way we cannot keep it, because only one shot is to be naira will continue to have a free fall until our government do the needful. Central bank could have done this and that, but they are not helping the matter. That's the problem, because they have enough in their hands. They cannot take monetary inflation. What they are starting to do.
Dr. Boniface, earlier we highlighted that borrowing is not a thing to be ashamed of. The best economies in the world take out loans.
Of course,
but the problem
the one bigger economy borrow.
Of course,
yes.
I want to highlight that the problem here, just like you said earlier, is our culture of reckless spending. And I will be preaching to the choir if I start to tell you the way we utilize the monies that we borrow. We have obligations to our international lenders. We're owing the IMF, we're owing the World Bank, we're owing the CBN, we're owing the Afrexim Bank, we're practically owing anybody even countries, we're owing China. Anybody that is willing to borrow us.
Yeah, even Nigerian commercial banks were owing them.
Exactly. So I want you to talk to us about how, despite all these huge borrowings, and like you said, monies that are being made available to governors, for example, the FAC allocation, which have now been fattened following the removal of fuel subsidy. Despite all of this, we still have governors who are saying that they are unable to cater to their state. We have governors who are neck deep in debt. As a matter of fact, there are some 20 states right now that are even owing the federal government for budget support. Governors are owing the federal government for budget support. So talk to us about this mismanagement of fund across different strata of government. And is there no body or an organization or a unit that can monitor the monies that are being distributed or allocated to these governors, especially monies that we borrow specifically for certain state projects?
Yeah, this is why the EFCC and ICPC should be allowed to get responsibility. They are not doing enough. They don't have to wait until these governors leave office before chasing them. As the money going back to the state, there should be a monitoring team monitoring how this money are being utilized. You can't tell me you're starting 10-kilometer road, you're spending 30 billion, 20 billion on 10-kilometer road. That's untenable because there's a reckless spending among the state governors today. The local government are not having what to do for them. The state government are pocketed local government fund. Which local government should give a matching order? This money is due to you. Federal government have said in the past that the money due to local government should collect direct from the federal government federal allocation account part, but the state pocket those money and without charging it to the local government. That's the problem. They appoint local government, the state chairman, mayor. The state government today have turned the constitution upside down. Some of them are appointed mayor instead of local government, which the constitution is organized. Today some of them are mayors, and those money, how many grants have been given to them to start up to operate, because most of them are handpicked, appointed without election. Elected according to the constitution, who have modeled the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that is why we have high lawlessness among the ruling class. Today, the constitution spells out you must conduct election, and so that people can elect their chairman and their councillors to govern at local level. Is that obtainable? The answer is no. So we have bastardized everything. Nobody, there's no law and order in the country, and that is why we have this highness of recklessness in spending. Local government are worse corporate. We can't build up everything on federal government. But the state and local government, local government will tell you the state are not giving us funds to operate. They are giving them a peanut. I was told that some some state assemblies have not even vehicle to operate, official vehicle. They are begging some manufacturers, please. We are begging to hasten up and manufacture so that we can be having a supply. What is the government is doing? And most of the state assembly are not making the state governors because as if their state governors handpicked them, elected them. Some of them operating without any allocation of fund. My sister is something lamentation. When you see all this happening, you weep for Nigeria that we are not making advance, we are not moving forward. We are backward. Nigeria is stagnant. We are not moving forward. We are not backward. We are just stagnant. At the standstill, that's what Nigeria is today. And when we say the truth, people will go against you. People will come after you because speaking the truth. EFCC should double and wake up. They should double and wake up. They must be checkmate the state government and local government. How whether the fund have reached them. If not, they should pile up and let the Attorney General take action. This state government with the immunity, there's a way you can checkmate them and retrieve some of the funds from them without, taking them to court because of the immunity. Or the past National Assembly can pass a law to remove this immunity. I can understand. There are too more weakness in the country, in the system. And with this system going on, Nigeria will not get out from their problem they find themselves. That's the truth. That's the truth.
Right. Dr. Boniface, earlier you spoke about the fact that, we've been trying to get foreign direct investments. The president has been on a number of trips to try to encourage, foreigners to come into the country and invest. But a lot of these countries that we're visiting, a lot of these private individuals that we're approaching, they're very well aware of the kind of debt burden that we're dealing with in the country at this time. Like I said, I gave a long list of all the organizations, foreign organizations, organizations that were borrowing money from. So how can we then ask or ask for foreign direct investment with all of the debt issues that we're dealing with, public debt issues that a lot of these people are aware of? Why would they come and put their money here when they know that we're even incapable of paying back previous debts?
You see, they would have been here in doing business with the country if our leaders have given the right or deployed right attitude in governance. Corporate governance transparency is the key. They will come here and do this because they know the Nigerians have the population, have the wherewithal, have the human resources to be able to deploy to make this money and pay back. They don't have doubt about that because they know that Nigerians scattered all over the world are making waves. That is not in doubt. But because of the way reckless our leaders are conducting themselves, we create more fear in this foreigners not to come and do business in Nigeria. They are not expecting to look, our money is safe. Instead of talking how to means of finding to pay this money to reduce the loans, this year Nigeria are borrowing and spending recklessly and without seeing what we're spending for. Somebody was saying, is it for the consumption? What are we borrowing for? What is our priority? Is it to develop the economy? Is it to develop infrastructure? Is it to create industries and build so that our graduates being turned out on the yearly basis? We have a job to do. If you have enough employees, engage our youth, who can pay these loans for Christ's sake? Who can pay this loan? There's nothing that is insurmountable. Nigeria have where we die to pay these loans off without struggling much, But because our leaders have bastardized everything, with the one that's stolen is enough to even be paid interest or pay the principal half of it, what they're stealing. The stealing is becoming too much. It's becoming alarming. So they are laughing at us. That's why they are running away. That's what they are going about. Even the governors who are going to hold investors. Who is coming? Nobody is listening to them. They will come because we are not done the thing we ought to have done to attract foreign investors. We have to tackle corruption first. Insecurity. These are problems. This is an endemic problem that's confronting foreign investor inflow. What you are having here today, those who are still around, is portfolio investors. And when there's equity market or whatever or treasurer high up, they sell up, they leave and do and make their money and take their profit away. That's what we are having. The real foreign investors are not here. Who are coming to create industries? How many years now? How many industries are put up or delisted from the exchange? These are parameters to adjust their economy. It's capital market. It's not working. It's not working. Those who are up here to bring their company to come and put it at the exchange are not here. They are not coming. We have all the checks. We have the manpower to ginger the economy. But our government is killing the citizens who would have been productive, by empowerment. Today, where are the youth? They are all in drug, running away to the foreign country to seek dinner pasture. That's the problem. And these are people who have stayed back here, productive, empowered, to be able to create more jobs, create more money to repay those loans. But they are not here. They are right away because their country is not taking care of them to create job opportunities. How many graduates, if they can count, in your community where you reside, growing the street without the empowerment? These are people who want to be unproductive. When they earn salary, that salary, they are being checked off from due payment for taxation. They have realized enough to be able to use those products to pay loans. But we're not utilizing them, the youth. Yeah?
Dr. Okeze, let's talk about these international lenders a little bit more. I know that some of the loans we've collected from these are international lenders. They come with a lot of conditions sometimes. When we borrow these monies, they tell you use this for women empowerment. This loan you've collected, you're to use it for this specific purpose, and you cannot do anything else with the money because they have put conditions behind the loans that you have borrowed. Don't you think in a way that also restrains the government government and forces them to use the monies for certain things that are not necessarily capital projects, the conditions that these international lenders put when they borrow us some of these monies?
No, let me tell you, when you borrow such a loan from international lenders, non-NGO financing, women empowerment, some of them doesn't even apply to the payment. They give this into, that's a part of their corporate social responsibility to help the third world countries, which we have found ourselves. Some of those things are not repayable. It is the ones you borrowed, you want to develop the economy, you want to develop the industries, you want to build hospitals, you want to build roads and bridges. These are the ones, which would divert without, commitment to those loans we are borrowing from. Because there must be a tag named on those loans we borrowed when we approach the foreign lenders what we want to do. These are the ones who they paid. They ask for us to pay or World Bank or IMF, or African Development Bank, ADB, ECOWAS, this and that bank, So these are the tight project loans that we must repay, because if you are committed to to develop the economy, if you are committed to build industries, there's no way we cannot repay those loans, There's no way. Even if you are developing the oil sector and there's a proceed coming from there, won't you pay? Because it's generating, we are selling crude, you must pay. Look at flaring of gas today. If government are putting machines and bring the foreigners to develop our gas deposits we have all over, in the south, east and south, in the west, there's a gas deposit. Today, we are short of gas. How much a 12 kg of gas today is about 16 naira or 17,000. That's the truth. 17 naira, 16,000. From 8,000, from 6,000, from 5,000 to 17,000, because there's no gas in the country. How much is the diesel today? So if you have borrowed to develop those sectors, there's no way we cannot repay our loans. Because those ones they given for charity organization to develop women and children hospitals, they don't repay those ones. They are giving them free of charge because they know what they're getting from you. They monitor that those ones that are given out as a charitable organization, non-NGO, non-profitable organization, must be committed to the project they are giving it out to. So that when you are giving a report the returns or how those money are spent, that's what they demand from you. You must give details how those money have been utilized, how you are spending them, and their result. You give them on the quarterly or yearly, they will demand from you. Nobody repay those loans except the key project or title you borrow for. That's what you repay,
Dr. Boniface, now let's talk about the risk that would be associated with our rising debt profile. If we continue with this pattern, like I said, 87 trillion naira and counting, if many of the loans that this administration is gunning for is actually approved, we would be seeing probably over 100 trillion naira of debt. What are some of the risks? What are some of the implications, the ripple effects that we as Nigerians might suffer if we continue this practice?
Yeah, because I also, my worry that these foreign lenders who loan all these loans are also corporate. They must also share from it. If you are not repaying it, the blame must go to them. Because when you ask them to borrow these loans and they come to World Bank and the IMF conditionality, attached to it, they will have to be now struggling to use all our resources, all that we generated through the crude sales, or are not the few internally generated. Then with all the budget to make, then service those loans, pay them, they will be happy. Nigerians are suffering, the lamentation is before Nigerians. That will become problem for Nigerians. The survival phase, our government, we must tell them now, we cannot be doing what we have been doing, service loan. Give us some grace. Other those loans will not be monitored by the lenders. They must also put in mechanism of monitoring how we are spending these loans. Otherwise, you cannot recover back this loan back. Because they must have to borrow and go asleep and say, okay, do it anyhow you use. No. At the end of the day, you want to suffer all Nigerians to find a way to repay you. And you'll be happy when Nigerians are suffering and lamenting. No, we cannot continue in that order. So Nigeria must find a way, devise a means of how we service these loans. You cannot take all you budgeted, all that you generated to service loan alone because you borrow, and Nigerians yet even unborn, we cannot even pay this loan off till everybody dies. We cannot die because we are paying loan. we must cut, find a means on how to do this payment of loans. They will not kill us. They must show understanding. That's how it didn't happen. America is owing more than war all over. Nobody's killing them. Nobody's forcing them. But when you have, you pay. At least you have the spirit of paying. That's most important. That you don't pay at all. If you haven't the ability to pay, they will understand that you have the ability to pay, but you don't have enough to pay those loans. They will show understanding. That's how it should be, and that is the area I'm looking for leaders to negotiate.
Right.
To play with them to exercise some restraint, so that we are paying this in. It's not that we are not paying at all. They give us time, we're able to pay this loan so that we can cater for our Nigerians. Otherwise, at home, we will not be finding it easy with our citizens. They will come against us.
Dr. Boniface, it's unfortunate that, most of the things we're even talking about is servicing the loans, which is more or less interest on these loans. So we've not even gotten to the point where we can pay back this loans in their entirety. So what do we do to prevent an escalation such that we're actually able to pay the loans rather than spend the bulk of our resources servicing the loan, and in future we're still faced with the monster of the actual loans?
Yeah, maybe we should stop borrowing for now and put a ceiling of borrowing. Then, you try whatever we can generate internally to solve our problem moving forward. But even there's need for you to borrow, you must prioritize some areas. What do you want to do those loans for? Is it to build industry? You must pay it out. Is it to create job opportunity, to employ people, to pay salary? You must pay it out, Is it for bridges? Is it for road construction? Is it for whatever, that will generate income? You must pay those things out before you go and borrow it. Otherwise, we should stop borrowing for now.
Would that be possible? Because if we don't borrow, Dr. Boniface, how do we fund our projects? Like you said, our over-reliance on oil is more or less the bane of our existence. Agriculture is almost non-existent because the rural-urban drift, even able-bodied men that would be on the farmland are now moving to the urban centers or relocating. Those that even want to go to the farm are unable to do so because of insecurity. Tourism, because of insecurity, is a no-go area right now. Nobody is going to tour a country that is under constant attack. So how then are we going to diversify the economy if we do not borrow, or how are we going to fund our projects if we do not borrow based on our current reality at this time, Dr. Okize?
Yes, if you are borrowing, you must also have attitude of prudent in spending, prudent in what you are borrowing for, what are the priority, what most very important issues you must tackle, must face headlong, so that Nigeria doesn't suffer your citizens. The agriculture, you have the maybe 30% or 1% or 5% loan payable, 10 years, 5 years, moratorium. You ask the commercial bank to struggle to do responsibility. So instead of central bank, they come for the Christmas and putting their hand there and there, neglecting monetary aspects of their responsibility. Then commercial bank should do those things. Agricultural financing, central bank should take the money to a commercial bank to help to give youth who are graduated to go into agricultural farming mechanism. Countries not rely on hoes or cutlasses to farming. No, we can't feed the nation. So that some people can go into goat rearing, sheep, cattle rearing, have a ranch, not destruction of crops that creates more problem security in the land. So everybody, if you have a plot of land, you can rear your cow within your vicinity and move to the market and sell when they are mature. So in the insecurity, if you protect them, Nigeria can move into the farm, able to do and grow more agricultural food. Because if the citizens are eating and happy, more productivity will increase in the land. People will be engaged and don't want another. They will sell their product and able to begin to repay those loans when they are borrowing internally within commercial bank.
Right.
Nigeria can, in the past, we rely on commercial bank to borrow. Not even foreign loans. Foreign loans are most manufacturers who borrow. To maybe get a foreign loan to assist what they are doing or buy machineries. If the commercial bank cannot do finance those things, government should be able to help commercial bank, be able to be in position to lend to the manufacturers to do their business, to carry their manufacturing aspect of their production. That's the only way we can get out of this problem we found ourselves today. Otherwise, we will destroy ourselves. If you rely on foreigners to enable to help, then we cannot build the economy. That's the truth. We need to rely look inward to build our economy. It's Nigerian made. We need to look inward. If we still rely on foreigners, we're going to service foreign loan we are borrowing. Yes, nobody can stop borrowing, even the developed country who have it, even in America who print the dollars, they also borrowing, relying on World Bank or IMF. They are not ruled out, for borrowing. But we must know what we are deploying this loan for. Is it for growth or is it for consumption? It don't borrow to be, to find consumption. But if you are borrowing for consumption, where are the food? How are you distributing them across Nigerians?
Well, you've heard it. That is the conversation for today. Basically, Dr. Boniface is talking to us on how we can improve economic growth and minimize our reliance on external borrowing to fund our budget and fund the entirety of our project, of the running of our economy. How do we have sustainable debt management in the country? Service this debt and also repay our loans. Also, how can we deal with mismanagement of borrowed funds across different strata of government? In about 5 minutes, it will be time for the headline news. That's at 5 p.m. But then we are going to open the phone line so that you can call in if you have questions or contributions, or you want to relate directly to Dr. Boniface Okezie. He would still be joining us virtually to answer your questions. I'm going to go to Facebook for a bit because we have a Facebook message on there right now. I will take a phone call before we go on the commercial break that we have after the headline news. On Facebook, we have Ise Benjamin who says, "Good evening, Sage. In Nigeria, the more you look, the less you see. I cannot understand why Nigeria should be borrowing money instead of lending money to other countries of the world. Based on what God has blessed us with in this country, the masses need to say enough is enough. We need to walk the talk and the time should be now." Benjamin from Shogunle sent that message on Facebook. Thank you very much. You can still join our streaming platform on Facebook, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. Let me take this one phone call before we go on that break for the news. Dr. Boniface, please stay on the line, sir. Hello.
Hello, Sage. Good evening.
Yes, good evening to you, sir.
Just a quick one. This is Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ.
All right, please interrupt.
Thompson from Babalola. Please, listening to him, he's very apt that we should not borrow to consume, and we should borrow for infrastructure. I want to say also that we should stop borrowing for infrastructure. If what we do is we want to build infrastructure with the money borrowed, we still do public-private partnership. If you look at almost all our infrastructure, there is no single one that we don't have any private company benefiting from it, or attached to it by way of revenue collection or maintenance and so on and so forth. I'll give you an example. Take for instance the BRT in Lagos. You have a situation where the revenue collector, the facility management company, for instance, the company that is collecting that is issuing tickets to people, collecting money and maintaining managing deposits and the system, is the company owned by those and friends of those that are in government. And if you look at the money that was used to control this BRT loan and even the first or higher purchase.
Would you be willing to call us back? I apologize. If you'll be willing to call us back, because we actually have to go on a break right now, I would be more than happy to take your phone call if you connect again. Please call us back, but we have to take a commercial break, or we'll first take the headline news at 5, and then we'll take a few commercial breaks. 5 minutes, we'll be back. Dr. Boniface, I would appreciate if you're able to just stay on the line for a few minutes while we take that particular break. You're still listening to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. This is the Situation Room. I have joining me Dr. Boniface Okezie. Together we've been talking about Nigeria's rising debt profile, our borrowing pattern, and the implication that this has on our economic growth. When we come back from the break, we'll open the phone lines and read more messages from our Facebook platform. Don't go anywhere. We are at the sound of Lagos, Mainland 98.3 FM.
listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Fantastic conversations.
Great to see you again. It's good weather. You want to agree with that?
Yeah, I love weather.
Trending music.
I live the life that I love. I love the life that I live. Tomorrow.
Traffic updates.
Ojoba and Chordy intersections is good. There's no cause for alarm.
Sports. And everything fun is right here on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch that dial.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening. Headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra. Zamfara state under siege from bandits and kidnappers. Governor Lawal cries out. Lagos issues alert on heavy rainfall. Urges residents to relocate from flood-prone areas. Abure re-elected as Labour Party National Chairman despite battle with NLC. Cardoso insists all verified forex backlog settled. Says security agencies probing dubious transactions. On the foreign scene, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte to meet with Chinese President Xi on cheap export policy. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo lashes out at a referee following loss to Slovenia in explosive outburst. That's the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
When your whole world comes crashing down, please look up. Assemble the team. It's showtime. The brains. Waking up.
What'd you have for breakfast?
We are the sound of Lagos, and this is Mainland 98.3 FM.
You didn't see that coming, did you?
The drama, the suspense, the emotions, the gang moments. Don't miss out on Nollywood movies and web series on YouTube with the YouTube Buffet plan from MTN. You can enjoy over 10 hours of Nollywood content made for you. Sharply dial *312*800# to activate the YouTube Buffet plan from MTN and start enjoying YouTube made for you.
Are you a real estate developer in Lagos? Do you want to see the business of real estate development done to global best practices? Are you eager for a more cordial relationship between real estate developers and government in Lagos? Do you want a boom in the Lagos real estate sector? Then vote Dr. Segun Oshudairu as Chairman, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN, Lagos State Chapter.
A vote for me is a vote for continuity, for unity, and for progress of REDAN Lagos. I'll be counting on your votes. We can do this together. Thank you.
My son, hey, let me check this phone. I don't know wetin junior press. E no dey work again.
Make I see. Mommy.
Wetin happen?
They don't block your line now.
Nobody like to chop blocking, no. So, if they don't block you unto say you not link your NIN to your Airtel line, run kitty go any Airtel shop with your NIN to unblock your line today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Hello everyone, Jendol Superstores is here again.
Yes, that's why we are identifying with you, our valued customers, at this moment of purity, love, sacrifice and dedication to God.
As part of identifying with you, our valued customers, in a season of faith, supplication and sharing, Jendol Superstores will be offering you up to 50% discount for some products across all sections in all our superstores nationwide.
This is fantastic.
Yes, so for all your groceries and non-grocery items, household needs, food items at the most affordable rates, bakery items, electronic gadgets, religious materials, and wonderful gift items for your friends, families, loved ones, religious and corporate organizations, Jendol Superstores is the best place to shop at this period.
So what are you waiting for? Hurry now. Shop at Jendol Jendol Superstores today.
Offer valid while stock lasts.
Visit Jendol Superstores nearest to you in Egbeda, Idimu, Igondo, Okeafa by Jakonde Gate and Ipaja by Abeson. We are also at Abulegba, Alakuko, Odogiyan in Ikorodu. Another branch along Itoiki Road, Ikorodu, and in Ojuore, Ota, Ogun State. For more unbeatable shopping experience,
Jendol opens Mondays to Saturdays 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Sundays 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
For more details, visit our website at www.jendolsuperstores.com.
For online, home, office, or special deliveries, call or WhatsApp us on 090-6287-3274 or call the customer care line on 090-6287-3267.
Visit Jendol Superstores today and get discount up to 50% on some products in all sections of our superstores nationwide.
Jendol Superstores. Shop and smile.
Attention Airtel customers. If your line has been blocked, then this is for you. Head to the nearest Airtel shop with your NIN. Our friendly staff will help you get your line back up and running. Don't let a blocked line keep you out of touch.
Airtel, a reason to imagine. It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. And at Sahur and Iftar, bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with more. This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. More. Eat for good.
Wait, isn't that an Alte jam?
Yeah, it the enter, Abi.
Wait though, when did you start jamming Alte? What happened to Afro depression? Like, who put you on?
Oh yeah, dial Sophie's number. Now that's who put me on.
Share your vibe with Hello Tunes from Airtel. Dial *790# to enjoy free trial and pay later.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Mainland 98.3 FM, your number one radio. Reaching stars, the sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join 괶ᴜᴜ Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial. Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you next as we discuss the situations.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You are still on to the Situation Room on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. The conversation is around Nigeria's rising debt profile. I've had the pleasure of talking to Dr. Boniface Okezie, who's been giving us professional expert insight into our borrowing culture and also our debt repayment structure, which at this time is unsustainable. We compared our debt burden across administrations, how we went from 42 trillion naira in debt in 2015 to about 87 trillion naira in 2024. We spoke about global economic shocks and the influence it has had on the increase in borrowing of the government. We've spoken about our budget in itself, the percentage of our budgets that we have allocated to debt servicing, and this is not even repaying the actual loans. This is just servicing the loans. That is almost 30% of the entire budget. And finally, we spoke about the implication that this behavior of ours has on the economy. How can we continue like that? Should we continue like this? What are the alternatives? How can we go about depending on other aspects of our economy like agriculture, the mining sector? We have human capital for all of this. Why do we have to rely on borrowing to fund our economy? What advice do you have for the government such that we're not so dependent on external borrowing, and also, how credit worthy we are now as a nation? Dr. Boniface, thank you very much, and thank you for standing by. Good evening once again.
My pleasure.
Yes. Okay, so at this time, we're actually going to open the phone line so that we can hear back from all of those who have listened to the conversation that you and I had in the past hour. And a lot of people like to interact with the analysts, which is why I would love for you to stay on the line through this process. Don't forget that we're also live on Facebook. We're streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. Before I go to the phone, I would like to very quickly read the Facebook messages that we've gotten so far. Prince Leo Ozoma says, any idea about farming without tackling insecurity and mechanization of agriculture is null and void. First things first. Leo Ozoma from Isolo, Lagos. Thank you very much. Rashid Taurid, also on Facebook, says, good evening, Sage. I greet your guest. He has really spoken well. I beg your pardon. As long as Nigeria is a consuming nation and we don't produce anything for importation, the country is going to continue to borrow. Imagine borrowing money to pay salaries or to service debt or to fund budget or help the poor. Then how are we supposed to pay back? The last administration of former President Buhari has put us into I'm so sorry. Okay, I guess you're saying has put us into more debt, and if care is not taken, even our unborn generation may not finish paying, and only God can save us. Thank you. Rashid Tari, thank you very much for your message. Let's go to the phones at this time. Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for calling, Pastor Ambers.
I greet your best when you say,
yes.
I've been listening to your guest. I want to ask you a question. Must we borrow to be able to survive? Wait, I think Dubai is in Kuwait, have you? Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all these oil countries, do they borrow?
Economies around the world.
According to your guest, you said
everyone borrows, Pastor Ambers. They just pay back.
No, I'm asking you because I'm not current. Dubai, all of them, do they borrow? If the kind of money we have in this country, just like your guest has rightly said, if the monies are properly managed, we are supposed to be borrowing people. It's not for us to borrow. But because of mismanagement, that is the problem. 1, 2 or 3 politicians, they are rich enough to pay off Nigeria's debt. Some of them don't even know where they get this money. And what is annoying me is that the politicians that are speaking so much, you will see Nigerians defending them. But why should we love one individual more than Nigeria as a nation? Look at what you just said now, that they have ravaged Zamfara. And we have politicians there. We have governors. And if government now, the president now says he wants to use military might now, they will say it's genocide. I like what the president has said, and I hope he will back them up with action. That kidnappers will be labeled as terrorists.
Thank you, Pastor.
Until we begin to take all of these decisions, we ain't going anywhere.
Thank you very much.
take the bull by the horn. That's the only way we can get there.
Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. Hello.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
And good evening to your guest. My name is John Peter.
Yes, I'm with you.
During the course of your interaction with your guest, you keep making reference to something. Your Russia-Ukraine war. You keep making reference to COVID lockdown. Good. And you are trying to attribute it to what is causing Nigerian borrowing and the rest of other
that made us borrow money. Yes.
Good. There is something I would like to bring to your notice. Okay? 2017, 2018, 2029. There is the world global meltdown. And Nigeria was not affected. It did not cause any inflation in Nigeria. It did not cause any panic in Nigeria. Okay? That is what happened to the whole world. World superpowers was affected, but Nigeria was not affected. You know what happened then? There are those who are in the hands of affairs in Nigeria who knows what they are doing. For somebody like 괏괜ᴛᴜ Aganga, we talk about somebody like what's their name? There are many. They know what they are doing at that time. Our economic team was super, but in anything that happens around the world right now, this APC government will always try to attribute it to what is happening. Whether they tell us it's the Israel-Ukraine war, or they tell us Gaza whatever, or they tell us it's lockdown. But in as much as they continue to borrow, in as much as they continue to borrow to build carpet, continue to renovate houses, this is what we continue to get, and we continue to get excuses. Instead of us to call a spade, that these guys are incompetent, they don't know how to run an economy. They will continue to look for something to tie at what is happening around the world and on their incompetency. I think we should stop that. We should stop making excuses for them and call a spade what it is. That is my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you for your call. Let's take another phone call. Hello. Prince Wise, good evening to you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, my dear. And good evening to your guest in this video.
Good evening.
Thank you, my dear. You see, as it is now, I think we are getting way right now. Because as a Nigeria is common one, the way our Naira is appreciating now, it was commend our central bank. And when we are really paying, we know, when we take the subsidy away and the subsidy Naira, it must be like that. And somebody who is not a lion cat can never say this, that thing is done. But the money is coming in. Instead of coming and getting a lot of money, what they have to be telling them is for them to spend the money wisely. Experimental, everything that's supposed to work, to work right now. When you go to state now, you tell me that no job. What have you taken the money you are getting for the villa, the local money you get? Take it as agriculture, mechanic farming. Later you have to move forward. One thing very clear that we all of us we should try to change that was about corruption. Corruption, what is corruption? It's what happening in Nigeria. If the governor, the president, the minister, the local government chairman, where our money gets into them what day, I think Nigeria will start moving forward. Look at our electricity. Look at our refinery. If what is not working long time ago, it is corruption that we got all the problem we are facing. So when we talk president, the president, governor, central bank, they are working there. No economic scheme is working. What will the power of that to what is it?
Thank you very much, Prince Wise. We appreciate you for your call. Let's take another call. Prince Wise, thank you. Let's take another phone call. Thank you so much for calling. Please, let's allow other people speak as well. We appreciate you. Hello. Prince Wise, please, can we allow other people speak as well? There are many other opportunities to speak, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello. Yes, have a nice day. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to you, ma'am.
Yeah, this is Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ.
All right, thank you for calling. Go ahead, please. I can hear you. Yes.
Please, I have a question for you. Just one question. The government is working very hard to make sure that Naira is appreciated, and anybody can say that Naira is appreciated. I think it's about 1,000 as of this morning. But my question is, if by one way or the other, because the Nigeria Labour Index, they say who they are now, the world has seen them, who they are, we pack them one corner. Now, I want to ask you this. If by the federal government increase the price, the minimum wage to 40,000 or 50,000, with what we are having presently in the market, if you're not going to create more information in the market, I said that increasing the minimum wage because if it's considered are not to 30,000 naira. So the question is it going to cause inflation if the government increase the price? I mean, the salary to 50,000 or 40,000 naira minimum wage by next month.
Right.
That is my question.
Right.
That is my fear. Because the progress now is very clear. That's very
all right. Dr. Boniface, would you like to address that? Do you think that increasing minimum wage will cause a corresponding rise in inflation?
It will not, to the extent that, because the inflation is already high and Nigerian workers are underpaid. They are also suffering. They're also going to the market. So if you increase it to 50,000, even to 100,000, it will not affect any inflation whatsoever. What government should address in this area of transportation, or find a way and means to bring down the price of fuel, which are called the problem of inflation rising, even to make the worker to demand extra naira to be increased on the skipping that be paying them 30,000, 25,000, 50,000. Most state governments are not even paying it in the pocket, which is annoying. So I don't think that any increase in salary would affect, increase automatically the inflation to go higher. No, it will not.
All right.
Government should address the issue of infrastructure, transportation, and find a way of pushing it down and bringing the fuel price down. If the refinery is functioning, and I think that the price of fuel will come down on its own without forcing it. It will come down. If Nigeria is refining locally today, it will help the workers. Because by the time everybody reduces transportation, bringing food into the urban cities from the rural area, I think we don't have such high inflation as expected. No, it will not.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Boniface. Yeah. On Facebook, Basil Chika says, until the government summon the willpower, they cannot stop this insecurity. Chika Bende from Trade Fair, Lagos. We also have another... Oh, okay. Maybe you want to resend the message because you deleted it, but it's okay. You can still send your message to our Facebook platform, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. We're talking about Nigeria's rising debt profile. How can we get out of this problem and stop depending on external borrowing for the running of our economic affairs? I have Dr. Boniface Okezie online with me, and we're taking contributions right now. Let's take this phone call. Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening to you. Can you turn down the volume on your radio, sir?
Yes, I turned it on.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
Yes, it's perfect. Go ahead.
I love Dr. Boniface.
Please tell us your name, sir, please.
Pastor Diola from Surulere.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Yes, we're always been in a dilemma concerning economic problem we find ourselves right from the time of Babangida. You see, we need to borrow for infrastructure. Although most of the money we borrowed, they are not at the some of them have been siphoned. But we need money to do infrastructure, and we need to educate our people, to upskill our people. Nigerians are not, but when I look at it, we have not been very productive. We are Nigerians of sin. An average, you cannot compare an average Nigerian with an average South African in terms of skill. So when you compare an average Nigerian with an average Scandinavian in terms of skill, or an American or an English, you see that we are nowhere to be found in terms of skill in any sector at all. So So that is what education is very important now. So that when as we borrow this money, people will be able to. People are getting out because if they go out, they get upskilled, and they want to stay there because staying in the country, you are not getting any skill, and you cannot compare yourself with anybody. So we are really very, very inefficient. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you. We still have time to take about 2 more phone calls. So if you'd like to contribute, please call 0913-6000-410. That's the phone line. You can also reach us via our Facebook platform, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. The conversation is on Nigeria's rising debt profile, the culture of borrowing, the mismanagement of fund, accountability and transparency in the monies that we're borrowing to fund our projects. And unfortunately, we see that our current expenditure in a way continue to crowd our capital expenditure, which is a problem and would affect our ability to repay the loans that we have borrowed. So what is the way forward? That's what we're asking. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Yes, good evening.
My name is Daniel.
We can barely hear you.
I'm Dandakazi.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to commend you for your program and how educated the community.
Thank you.
Make us aware. Like you're doing a very good and so like I want to say concerning this, we Nigerians, we do that thing. We don't have a pattern because
do you mind speaking up a little bit? I can assure you nobody can hear you.
Can you hear me better?
Yes,
Can you hear me better?
yes, please let's maintain this pace.
Government, we don't have a pattern, a strategy, a plan on how to execute things that come in place. Like the measures, how they will balance what is going to be the outcome of whatever they are doing. They just borrow money without having a specific, and there's nobody checkmating the activity that is wrong. There should be an organization that should be checkmating the government. I don't know why it's not in this country. And you want to lead by example. You're supposed to slash your people in government if you want to show you are really competent. They're not concerned. They don't value our citizens as much as they are important. It's not fair because they are eating out of the future. What we suffer today is because of something that's been done. You can't say you come to my house and impact children and I'll pick them up somewhere in another state. Like someone knows something, unless they don't want us to know. But Nigeria will always be better and we always pay for it. But we can't be better if this set of people are in government. Everybody, the government has to be overhauled for this country to move forward. Because it's not funny and it's not joking and they take us like a joke. And we are more than the people in government. Well, Nigeria will always be better and we do so.
Thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you. That is the last phone call that we can take for this evening. Dr. Boniface, let's hear from you. Final words before we call it a wrap on the show.
Yes, like the callers, what they have been saying, I agree with them totally. We must have a monitoring team that monitors the federal government borrowing in the states. Like I said, EFCC, ICPC, maybe they'll merge them together. They have to work in synergy to be able to monitor what governments are doing. Even the budget office, the budget office has a lot to do in advising government to assess borrowing. So if government has exceeded what they have borrowed, what other ought to have been borrowed, they should be in position to attack government going against selling or borrowing. So the budget office, that should be part of their duty, but they're not doing it. National Assembly is another body that can also checkmate, but they also got the fallout. What is going to come to us in this excess borrowing? And when they got their own, they don't care that they approve everything, which is wrong. Because the last assembly, is it the 8th assembly or 9th assembly? If they have done their job very well, Buhari wouldn't have gone along to borrow all that are borrowing unnecessary loans. The man continue to be approved. Because something comes to them on their own table. They will get their follow, they compensated. That's the problem, they approve. Anything comes, they approve, they become the rubber stamp. So every one of them, the Green Chamber was not able to making the SSS of the executive lawless in borrowing.
Thank you.
We get sorrowing. They say who borrow got sorrowing. That's the problem. They were not checkmating doing their job as a legislative function. everything that comes from executive, the rubber stamp. And the man go ahead and borrow. That's what we have today.
Right.
You know,
Dr.
and everybody wants to be able to make magic to begin to pay this loan up as quick as possible. It can't happen. It can't happen. So that's why I am appealing to the federal government of today to prioritize their issue right and begin to cut, corruption.
Thank you.
If we're able to stop corruption, Nigeria will be in position to be able to pay this loan and cater for the citizens of Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. We're actually out of time. I apologize. I know that you have these conversations with your input because there will always be development. Well, this is where we draw the curtains on conversations for today. Thank you so much for your participation on the Situation Room. It still comes again tomorrow, same time, same station. Mainland 98.3 FM from 4 p.m. all the way to 5:30 p.m. More conversations on your airwaves. My name is Sage Babalola. The full bulletin is going to come your way at exactly 5:30 p.m. Enjoy the rest of the evening and thank you very much.